I just dropped a spoiler on something that I'm working on. I think you might get a kick out of. Give us something to chat about there. You're asking about some of the stuff I'm doing on my own. So I created this collapsible circuit. You familiar with collapsible circuits? Like,
not at all.
So okay, so what it is
cool.
I made essentially it's an IED, and the way it's triggered is you can put copper paint on a piece of paper, and then when you hook your blasting cap up to that, if there's continuity through it and everything, it's a circuit, right? So I have it running through a separate blasting machine so that once that circuit's broke, it will trigger a zero delay blasting cap. You want to talk about a nerve-wracking moment when you're checking continuity on that thing and you're hooking it up, because I wanted to use an inert 40 millimeter round to be able to explode this alien head. So to be able to get it to look like it's actually exploding on camera, I had to do it with this collapsible circuit thing. So it was pretty nerve-wracking, but that's like a little spoiler on something I've been working on.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So for those listening, he's shooting an alien head and it's exploding into green goo. That's really fucking cool.
Someone held a gun to my head and said, "Figure out how to do this." I would just lay down and let them kill me.
What's the 40 being launched out of?
It's out of, it's like an M203, but it's one of those Chinese like knockoffs.
Yeah. Spikes makes a cool one.
Yeah.
I don't know if they took that or not.
I'm sure they did.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
I'm sure they did.
They told me they took everything.
I have it under good authority. They're very good at finding things.
Yeah. Yeah, I was talking about that last week. I was obviously talking about the first time they raided my house. When that was a situation like ATF was in the living room and they had this big list of like my registered stuff, and they're like, we're not coming up with a couple machine guns here, and they're looking at me like I've done something wrong, and I'm like, well, they're in my bedroom. They're like, we searched the bedroom quite well, sir. And I'm like, mind if I take a look? I'm like, help yourself. And I walk in and I just like, I know exactly where the machine gun is, and I just like reach between two pairs of blue jeans on a rack and go, "Ka-ka!" and I've got an M4, and I'm just like, this the one? And he's I won't use his name, but the head of the field office looks at his agent like, you've just humiliated me in front of Mr. Myers.
You've made me appear a fool, and I do not appreciate it.
The last time, Gaston, you failed me.
You're definitely on, let's say, the unfavorable end of that situation. I will say I've had a very favorable situation in an audit inspection where they came and I was completely caught off guard, very much like you in that situation where it's like, hey, we've got this list. Where are these things? And again, I won't use names, but I was like, I don't know. Like I didn't do that form. That's not mine. Like what is it? What's the serial number? It's a 20 millimeter? What? Like, oh, that's the dude I paid like 2 or 3 years ago. He already formed it, and he's been sitting on my money and hasn't shipped me the rifle. And I was like, yes. Now I got the ATF on my side, breathing down his neck. And they're like, hey, you know that thing that's in your possession? You better ship that out this week. Or if it's not finished, you need to finish it this week because you've already formed it to this guy and it should be in his safe. And I was like, yes, I've been trying to get this freaking rifle for years now, and dude's been sitting on it.
That's shocking. So you paid for it and it took him years to deliver, and you didn't.
Yeah, some of these specialty
refund, or is that just?
It doesn't really work with these guys, not the big bore guys. Like a lot of these specialty shops and stuff like that, they're like, we'll get around to it when we get around to it, and you pay us first. And
it wasn't
I don't want to say.
Do I know him?
You may. I don't know if you're working with him personally, but he is
Florida.
Yeah.
I know him real well.
Okay.
Yeah, I've worked with him a couple times. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a fire. Maybe have a fire a few years back.
I don't know.
Suspicious circumstances.
Probably.
Who knows what happened?
I
Yeah.
can't believe we had a flood right here on the mountaintop.
Yeah, I paid him for a suppressor and everything, and only got the rifle. But
It's
whatever.
probably because of I sort of made it sound like there was something suspicious about that fire, but there really wasn't. It was if I had to guess, I don't know your circumstances, but I would guess that your delay was perhaps caused by his unforeseen circumstances around that fire. That really fucked his shit up. He was relegated to like a garage.
Oh, right.
For a year or so, because he lost like it was millions. He only had like 1 or 2 show rifles left because the rest of them were in the fire. Basically, people broke into his factory, realized they're on candid camera, and the DVR is locked in a big boy safe, and so they burnt the whole facility down. And in it was like a lot of 25 millimeter Bradley ammo, like millions of dollars worth of it. And he didn't have anything insured.
Yeah, I've talked to a few guys in the community, like Dangerous Bob and some of them, and they're like, yeah, no, that's just how this dude operates. He's it's like pulling teeth to get stuff done. So I was like, all right, well, cool. But hey, that was awesome that like the ATF, they were like I've never been so like, oh shit, what did I do? What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? And they're like, hey, where are these things? I'm like,
when you've got lots of stuff on your books, it can be like those moments where you're like staring at a serial number and like some abbreviation for a rifle or a thing, and you're just like, my heart would drop. It would go boom, 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 and I'm like, I don't recognize this. I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. I don't know what. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's this. This is it. Here it is. Here it is. No prison today.
Yeah. Well, Bob was telling me that he has, or he was looking to buy someone's lot of. Don't quote me on it, but it was ammunition. So it was like 30 millimeter from like A10s or something like that, and every single round was serialized, and it was like 40,000 rounds. And so in that audit, they have to go through 40,000 serial numbers. And can you imagine the amount of, agent inspectors coming out for that, and just the sheer amount of time going through? It'd be like, you're rolling the dice. If they miscounted one, can't find it. Good luck finding that needle in a haystack.
Did get his 30 working?
I don't know. God, James is another dude who's so hard to get motivated.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he doesn't need to work. Dangerous Bob is such a fun guy. I mean, the guy's name is Dangerous Bob for those listening.
Mm-hmm.
Like odd fella, missing a finger or two. Odd fella, real fun. Every time I see him, it's just like, oh, there he is. That's
so
cool.
unsuspecting too. Like, I think I met him with you in SHOT Show, like I want to say 8 or 9 years ago or something.
Probably
something like
yeah.
that.
I met him out in Tennessee.
Like, who's this? With Ira?
Yeah, with Ira.
Huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
he had brought me a flamethrower, and Scott, my cousin Scott, that was cameraman for me. He and I are sitting over there like fixing our camera, making it right, and Dangerous Bob's over there like getting the flamethrower dialed in, and it's kind of finicky because it's a Vietnam era flamethrower, and he's shooting diesel out of it, and he is just, and it's a very hot, humid day, like 95 degrees, like fucking 90% humidity. It's awful to be outside. And I look, and he's enveloped in a cloud of diesel mist. I mean, enveloped in it. And he's trying to get the igniter to go off. He's click, 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 and he's continuously spraying this fog of diesel. And I'm like, Scott, film that. This motherfucker's about to die on us. Watch this shit. And like, there's no way to put him out. If he goes out, there's a lake over there, but by the time he gets to that, I mean, he's toast. I thought he was going to die that day.
There's a lake over there.
Yeah. Forget the Tiger King. Like, I feel like that there's so many niche communities in the world of like everything. Like, like you say, with firearms,
every community has its own thing. And a lot of those guys are secretive, and like especially with firearm stuff, because they don't want their shit to get stolen because it happens so much.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of those guys that I've met would be, you know, they want to show me what they've got, and it was shocking. So many times I've been shocked at the things that people would have. Up in Ohio, there's a gentleman with, it's just shocking things. What are you, the National Guard?
Missile silos.
Yeah.
Like a lot of those dudes have those decommissioned missile silos that just go up for auction, which is funny because like in the last year I was looking at some of them out in Arizona and Nevada, and they weren't that expensive. And like in the last 2 months, they've all sold over market price, like or list price, rephrase that. Because there was a bunch of like LA Times articles, oh, you can own a missile silo or whatever in like October of last year. And it was like, oh, okay, that's actually a couple $100,000. I mean, it's not that expensive in the grand scheme of things for something that's already like built out with concrete and everything, going out there and retrofitting some stuff with some amenities and everything. Now it's like, good luck getting those for, you know, under sub $1 million or $2 million.
Yeah, you got a fallout shelter ready made by the U.S. government. Shit's legit.
Richard, you were looking at buying a missile silo? For what purpose?
No. I was just I like looking at stuff. I like looking at tiny houses. Like I never actually pulled the trigger on it.
Okay. You're just like imagining your life with a
Were you thinking of converting a missile silo into an exotic home?
For tigers?
I don't know.
No, these are fallout shelters.
I don't know. Like the thing is like there's so like you're trying to look at different. I like the Airbnb model of adventure vacation lodging, right? Where it's like, you know, people put tiny houses on exotic ranches in Texas or whatever that is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or go stay at this missile silo for the week, and it's like a, you know, like a bunker or something like that.
That was the wild hair. I can't judge too much. When I lived in my last house and we were buying a new one, I was like, how much is a castle?
I think I turned you on to the castles.
Did you? You may have. Yeah.
I was like, dude.
I've always wanted a moat.
You know, Game of Thrones was big.
Where'd
Right?
you look?
Like,
stateside or overseas?
Stateside, right?
I've seen those too.
Yeah. There's
Buying
some
an
castles
ancient
around.
North Carolina castle.
I was like, you know, like the cheapest castle, I could swing it.
I can swing the cheapest castle until some other guy moves into the bigger, nicer castle, and you're just sitting there in your parapet, looking out your shaking with anger.
Lord Farquaad, his forces are massing, my lord.
I mean, I don't know about these multi-million-dollar
Colin, send a
facilities.
raven.
But there's like legit ghost towns or places where people have been murdered that like you can't give away.
Yeah.
Because the
People
ghosts
give that away
don't
to
wanna
me.
go.
I'm not afraid of ghosts and shit. That shit's all
Well, that's
made
what
up.
I was saying. Kyle would definitely be down to stay there. I would be like, hey, bro, come stay at my Airbnb. Be like, I'm great. Let's go.
Yeah.
The ghost towns are interesting too. Every so often, like I own this town. I'm also the mayor. I own all the places, and it's like
Detroit for $300.
That would be
Less
that
than
would
a
be
month's
sick.
pay at the Tiger King Ranch.
the thing you want to do with Detroit, they don't want you to do. Like they, I think it's hard to buy a place, or at least it was, that you didn't intend to like live in and make a thing out of. You know, if you just wanted to rip it down and wait for real estate to turn around, they were against that.
Yeah.
Yeah.